Good day, everyone. I am Maria Janeline Dagamak, together with my groupmates Beverly Kate Aguilos, Christine Ann Bacalso, Donna Ruth Bacudo, Namra Sedic, and Jenny Rose Eve Tanyo will be tackling about the interpersonal group continuum. But before we discuss that topic, let us first define what is social identity theory. Primarily established by Henry Tajfel and his colleagues in the early 1970s, the social identity theory does not only recognize the importance in studying the psychology of individuals as individuals, but it also asserts the need to understand how, when, and why individuals define themselves in terms of their group memberships, and how these memberships, as a consequence, affect the behavior of employees within organizations. One of the aspects of social identity theory is its explanation that social behavior falls in a continuum that ranges from interpersonal behavior to intergroup behavior. Most social situations will call for a compromise between these two ends of the spectrum. As an example, Henry Tajfel suggested that soldiers fighting an opposing army represent behavior at the extreme intergroup end of the interpersonal intergroup spectrum. Now the question is, what does it mean to say a person is acting as a member of a group? To distinguish interpersonal behavior from behavior in group settings, Tajfel in 1978 suggested three criteria that will help us to make the distinction. Criterion 1 is the presence or absence of at least two clearly identifiable social categories. This criterion shows how similar or different are the individuals in a particular group when it comes to social categories. For example, a man and a woman, an employee and an employer, a teenager and an adult. Criterion 2 is the level of variability between persons within each group in their attitudes or behavior. This criterion reminds us that group behavior is typically homogeneous or uniform, while interpersonal behavior shows a range of individual differences. For example, the coordinated dancing of K-pop groups, the harmonious singing of a choir group, and the majestic playing of an orchestra all provide graphic illustrations of behavioral uniformity. Another example is seen in the similarities in perception of some supporters on a specific presidential candidate is an illustration of uniformity in attitude. Criterion 3 is the level of variability in one person's attitudes and behavior towards other group members. This criterion provokes us to think whether a certain individual reacts similarly to a wide range of different others, or whether that individual show a differentiated response to them. For example, group stereotyping, which is simply a generalization about the personal attributes or characteristics of a group of people. A formal illustration of this group stereotyping is shown in a famous study of racial stereotyping published by Katz and Braley in 1933. The students at Princeton University, USA were tasked to answer a questionnaire. The results revealed that white Americans were regarded industrious and intelligent. Jews were deemed as shrewd and mercenary. Japanese were viewed as shrewd and sly, and the Negroes were considered as lazy and happy-go-lucky. Note that with these three criteria to take into consideration, then we can be confident to recognize whether an individual is acting as a member of a group. That is all for my report. Thank you for listening. These are my references. Have a good day.